The sun was setting on planet K-12. Orange and purple light filled the sky. Taiho looked up and knew he should go home. His parents had told him many times not to go into the deep forest alone, but the glowing plants that appeared after the meteor shower were too amazing to ignore. Just a little farther, Taiho said to himself. Taiho was 12 years old. Like all Nuri people, he had blue-tinted skin and large eyes that seemed to shine in the dark. The Nuri were peaceful beings who could share thoughts without speaking. They had come to this planet 3 generations ago and built a safe home far from danger. Until now, Taiho touched one of the strange plants. It glowed brighter under his fingers. He smiled, wishing he could bring one back to show his friends. What Taiho didn't know was that the meteor shower wasn't natural at all. It was a science ship that had crashed. The ship had been carrying animals from many planets, including some very dangerous ones. The forest grew quiet suddenly. Too quiet. Taiho stood still, feeling that something was wrong. The happy sounds of small animals and insects had stopped. He felt eyes watching him from somewhere in the darkness between the trees. "I should go home now," he whispered, turning around. But he had walked so far that he wasn't sure which way to go. A branch broke somewhere behind him. Taiho spun around, but saw nothing. Then he noticed something strange, a patch of darkness that didn't match the trees and plants around it. The darkness moved slightly. Taiho's heart began to race. He took one step back, then another. The darkness shifted, revealing itself. It was a creature Taiho had never seen before. It stood on 6 powerful legs. Its skin changed colors to match its surroundings. But most terrifying were its jaws, filled with teeth as sharp as knives lined up in 3 rows. The creature was a Nexus stalker, one of the deadliest hunters from the death world Nexus 6. It had escaped from the crashed Science ship 3 days ago. Now it was hungry. Taiho didn't wait to see more. He turned and ran. Captain Jiwoo Kim cursed as she burned her finger on a hot wire. She was trying to fix her scout ship's damaged engine. Her small ship sat in a clearing about 5 miles from where Taiho was running for his life. "Almost done," she said, pushing her short black hair out of her eyes. Jiwoo was the only human for many light years around. Her mission was to map stars and planets in this sector of space. She hadn't planned to land on K-12, but her ship's computer had detected a distress signal from a crashed science vessel. Jiwoo was strong and fit, like most humans who traveled in space. Coming from Earth with its heavy gravity made humans naturally stronger on most other planets. She had military training too, though she rarely needed to use it during peaceful mapping missions. She closed the engine panel and went back inside her ship to check the computer. The screen showed a map of the area. 2 dots were moving quickly through the forest, one chasing the other. "That's odd," Jiwoo said. According to her information, this part of the planet should only have simple wildlife, nothing that would hunt so aggressively. Then she noticed the crashed science ship on her screen and things began to make sense. "Escaped specimen," she muttered. "Great." Just as she was deciding what to do, a wave of fear washed over her. It wasn't her own fear. It came from somewhere else. Jiwoo touched the small implant behind her ear. It was a neural translator that could pick up basic emotions and thoughts from telepathic species. Right now, it was overloaded with terror. "Child," Jiwoo realized. The emotions were simple and raw in a way that only came from the young. She grabbed her pulse rifle and emergency pack. Whatever was happening in those woods, someone needed help, and Captain Jiwoo Kim never ignored a call for help. Taiho ran faster than he ever had in his life. His lungs burned. His legs ached. But fear pushed him forward. Behind him, the Nexus stalker followed at an easy pace. It could have caught him already, but predators from Nexus 6 enjoyed the hunt almost as much as the kill. It made a low sound, something between a growl and a laugh, that sent shivers down Taiho's spine. "Help!" Taiho called out with his mind sending waves of distress in all directions. "Please, anyone!" But there was no one to hear him. He was too far from the settlement. Taiho's foot caught on a tree root. and he fell hard. His knee scraped against a rock, drawing blood. He tried to get up, but it was too late. The Nexus stalker was there. It loomed over him, its body shifting colors in the moonlight. Its 6 legs moved it in a circle around the fallen boy. Taiho could smell its hot breath like metal and rotten meat. "Please," Taiho whispered, though he knew the creature couldn't understand him. "Please don't." The stalker lunged forward. Its massive jaws closed around Taiho's leg, not hard enough to break the bone. Not yet. It wanted to play with its food. First, Taiho screamed, both with his voice and his mind. Pain shot through his body. The stalker's teeth pressed against his skin, ready to bite down harder. Then something changed. The predator's head jerked up, still holding Taiho's leg in its jaws. It sensed something new, something approaching fast. Jiwoo ran through the forest, jumping over fallen logs and ducking under branches. The translator implant led her toward the source of the distress call. Her body, built for Earth's stronger gravity, moved with a speed and strength that would have amazed anyone watching. She broke through the trees into a small clearing lit by moonlight. What she saw made her stop for just a second. A massive 6-legged creature, its skin rippling with changing colors, had its jaws around the leg of a small blue-skinned boy, an alien child, and a predator about to make a meal of him. Jiwoo didn't hesitate. She raised her rifle and fired a warning shot into the air. "Hey!" she shouted. "Over here!" The creature turned toward her, still holding the boy in its jaws. Its eyes reflected the moonlight like mirrors. It seemed confused by this new arrival, this strange 2-legged being that smelled different from anything it had encountered before. Jiwoo took a step forward. "Let the kid go," she said firmly, as if the creature could understand her. She pressed a button on her visor, switching to thermal vision. The predator's camouflage might fool normal eyes, but it couldn't hide its body heat. The Nexus stalker made a decision. This new creature was bigger than the small blue one. It might be a better meal. It released Taiho's leg and turned fully, toward Jiwoo. Taiho crawled backward, his leg bleeding but not badly injured. He watched in amazement as the small 2-legged alien faced the monster without fear. The stalker roared and charged at Jiwoo. She didn't run. She didn't even step back. Instead, Captain Jiwoo Kim smiled. "Bad choice," she said quietly, raising her rifle. The predator was about to learn an important lesson that many species across the galaxy had already discovered. Humans might look small and soft, but they were anything but easy prey. And when it came to protecting children, any children of any species, humans were the most dangerous predators of all. The Nexus stalker charged at Jiwoo like a freight train. 6 powerful legs pushed it forward at an amazing speed. Its jaws opened wide, showing 3 rows of teeth that could crush bone. But Jiwoo was ready. As the creature leaped toward her, she rolled to the side. The move was quick and smooth. The stalker crashed into the spot where she had just been standing. It roared in anger, confused by how fast its prey had moved. "Too slow," Jiwoo said, now standing 10 feet away. Taiho watched, with wide eyes. He had never seen anyone move like that. The Nuri people were peaceful, they did not fight, they ran from danger. But this strange 2-legged alien was different. She stood her ground. The stalker turned to face Jiwoo again. This time it moved, more carefully. It began to circle her, looking for a weak spot. Its skin shifted colors, trying to confuse her eyes. But Jiwoo's thermal visor showed the creature's heat signature clearly. "What are you waiting for?" Jiwoo asked, her rifle pointed at the beast. She glanced quickly at the blue-skinned boy. His leg was bleeding, but he had moved away from the fight. Good. The stalker made a fake move to the left, then attacked from the right. It was smart and fast, but Jiwoo was faster. She jumped high, higher than should have been possible on this planet with its lower gravity, and fired 3 quick shots from her rifle. 2 shots missed as the creature moved, but one hit the stalker's front leg. It screamed in pain, a sound that made Taiho cover his ears. "That was a warning," Jiwoo said. "I don't want to kill you if I don't have to." The creature didn't understand her words, but it understood pain. It backed up a few steps, sizing up this new enemy. No prey had ever heard it before. This was something new. Taiho watched in amazement. The human female was so small compared to the monster, yet she showed no fear. She moved like water, flowing around the creature's attacks, and she jumped so high. It must be magic, he thought. The stalker changed its plan. It suddenly turned and ran toward Taiho again. If it couldn't catch the strong prey, it would take the weak one. "No!" Jiwoo shouted. She ran after the creature, pushing her strong leg muscles to their limit. Taiho tried to crawl away, but his injured leg slowed him down. The stalker was almost on him when something amazing happened. Jiwoo caught up to the creature and grabbed one of its back legs. With strength that seemed impossible for her size, she pulled. The stalker, weighing over 400 pounds, was yanked backward, off its feet. "I said no," Jiwoo growled, standing between the predator and the boy. The stalker got back up, hissing with rage. No prey fights back. No prey is this strong. Something was wrong. Taiho couldn't believe what he was seeing. The human female had just pulled a Nexus stalker off its feet. How was that possible? He reached out with his mind, trying to understand. The Nuri people could share thoughts and feelings. Taiho didn't know if it would work with this alien, but he tried anyway. To his surprise, he felt a connection. Images flashed in his mind. A blue and green planet much larger than his own. Tall mountains, deep oceans, and gravity, heavy, pulling gravity that made everything weigh almost twice as much as on K-12, the Earth. That was the name of her world. Taiho understood now. The human came from a high-gravity planet. Her body was built for a much stronger pull. Here on K-12, she was far stronger than she would be at home. It wasn't magic, it was science. "Can you run?" Jiwoo called to him without taking her eyes off the stalker. I think so," Taiho answered. He was surprised when she seemed to understand him. Maybe she had technology that helped translate his thoughts. "When I give the word, run toward those big red trees. I'll be right behind you." Jiwoo pointed with one hand, while keeping her rifle aimed at the stalker with the other. The creature was getting ready to attack again. It was angry now, and it would not stop until one of them was dead. "Ready," Jiwoo said. The stalker crouched, muscles tensing. "Go." Jiwoo fired 3 more shots at the creature, hitting it in the shoulder. As Taiho started limping toward the trees, she backed up slowly, keeping herself between him and the predator. The stalker roared in pain and anger. It charged again, this time moving in a zigzag pattern to avoid the rifle shots. Jiwoo fired twice more but missed. Then the creature was on her. 300 pounds of muscle and teeth slammed into Jiwoo. They both went down hard. The stalker's jaws snapped at her face, missing by inches. Its claws raked at her suit, tearing the tough material. Taiho stopped running and turned around. The human who had saved him was in trouble. "Go!" Jiwoo shouted as she struggled with the creature. "Run!" But Taiho didn't run. He couldn't leave her to die. Not after she had helped him. He looked around for something, anything he could use. Near his feet was a broken branch, thick and heavy. He picked it up. Meanwhile, Jiwoo was fighting for her life. The stalker had her pinned to the ground. Its weight made it hard to breathe. Its teeth were getting closer to her throat. She had dropped her rifle when it hit her. But Jiwoo had one advantage: earthborn strength. She got one leg up under the creature's body and pushed with everything she had. The stalker, not expecting such power, was flipped onto its side. Jiwoo rolled away and jumped to her feet. She pulled a long knife from her boot. It wasn't as good as the rifle, but it would have to do. "Come on then," she said to the creature. The stalker got up and faced her. Both of them were breathing hard now. Both had wounds, but neither would back down. That's when Taiho appeared beside the creature and swung his heavy branch with all his might. It hit the stalker on the head with a loud crack. The branch broke, but it had done its job. The creature staggered, stunned by the blow. Jiwoo didn't waste the chance. She leaped forward, knife ready. One quick, deep cut to a vital spot. And the fight was over. The Nexus stalker fell to the ground and didn't get up again. Taiho dropped what was left of his branch. His hands were shaking. He had never hurt another living thing before. The Nuri didn't believe in violence, but he had acted without thinking to save the human who had saved him. Jiwoo wiped her blade on the grass and put it back in her boot. She was covered in dirt and scratches, but she was alive. She turned to the blue-skinned boy who stood nearby, looking shocked. "Thanks for the help, kid," she said with a smile. "That was brave." Taiho didn't understand her words, but he felt her gratitude through their mental connection. "You saved me first," he sent back with his thoughts. Jiwoo nodded, seeming to understand. She walked over to where her rifle had fallen and picked it up. Then she came back to Taiho and knelt to look at his injured leg. "We need to clean this," she said, pointing to the bite marks. Taiho looked at the dead stalker, then back at Jiwoo. "Are there more?" he asked with his mind, sending an image of many stalkers coming toward his village. Jiwoo's face grew serious. She seemed to understand his question. "I hope not," she said. "But we need to be ready if there are." She held out her hand to him. After a moment, Taiho took it. Together they walked away from the body of the Nexus stalker as the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon. The sun rose over the forest of K-12. Jiwoo and Taiho walked slowly through the trees. Taiho limped because of his injured leg, but he didn't complain. Jiwoo stayed close to him, her eyes scanning the forest for any more dangers. "My ship is not far," Jiwoo said, pointing ahead. "We can clean your wounds there." Taiho nodded. He was starting to understand some of her spoken words now. Their mental connection was growing stronger. He could feel her thoughts, not all of them, but enough to know she wanted to help him. "Thank you," Taiho said, using his voice this time. The words felt strange in his mouth. The Nuri rarely spoke out loud, preferring to use their minds, but he wanted to try to communicate in her way. Jiwoo looked surprised, then smiled. "You're welcome," she said slowly. They walked in silence for a while. Taiho had many questions, but he was tired and his leg hurt. He sent a simple thought to Jiwoo. "Who are you?" Images from Jiwoo's mind came to him. A big ship traveling among stars, many planets being marked on maps. Jiwoo in a uniform with other humans. The word captain connected to her. "I'm Captain Jiwoo Kim," she said out loud. "I map stars and planets. I was checking a crashed ship when I heard you." Taiho sent her images of his village. Blue-skinned people living in round houses made of stone and wood. Gardens full of food plants. Children playing. Elders teaching. Peace. "My people are the Nuri," he said with his mind. "We came here from another world long ago." Jiwoo nodded. "I've never met your kind before. You're not in our records." They reached a clearing where Jiwoo's scout ship sat. It was small but sleek, with smooth lines and dark metal skin. Taiho stared at it in wonder. The Nuri had ships that brought them to K-12, but they were old now and rarely used. "Come inside," Jiwoo said, helping Taiho up the ramp. Inside, the ship was clean and orderly. Screens showed maps and numbers, seats with straps, metal cabinets full of tools and supplies. Jiwoo led Taiho to a small bed built into one wall. "Sit." "Here," she said. She opened a white box with a red symbol on it. Inside were bandages, tubes, and other medical items. Taiho sat still as Jiwoo cleaned the bite marks on his leg. The liquid she used stung, but he didn't cry out. He was too interested in watching her work. "The stalker's teeth carry bacteria," Jiwoo explained as she worked. "This will kill the bad germs." Taiho sent her a question. What was that creature? Where did it come from? Jiwoo frowned. It's called a Nexus stalker. It's from a planet far from here. It must have escaped from the science ship that crashed. She showed him mental images of a bigger ship, broken into pieces in the forest. Cages that were bent open. Different animals running free. Taiho felt cold fear. Are there more like it? Jiwoo didn't answer right away. She finished bandaging his leg, then sat down beside him. Yes, she said finally. The ship was carrying many creatures for study. Some may have survived the crash. Taiho's fear grew stronger. He sent Jiwoo an image of his village, with stalkers attacking the people there. My family, My friends, we must warn them. Jiwoo put a hand on his shoulder. We will, but first you need to rest. And I need to check something. She went to the ship's computer and began typing. Screens changed, showing the forest from above. Taiho watched in amazement as the view zoomed in on different areas. My ship can scan for life forms, Jiwoo explained. I'm looking for any that match the stalker's pattern. Taiho limped over to stand beside her. On the screen, small dots moved through the forest. Most were in groups, normal animals, but a few larger dots moved alone. There, Jiwoo pointed. 3 more stalkers, and they're heading toward the east. Taiho sent her an image of his village, located to the east of where they were now. How far is your village? Jiwoo asked. Half a day's walk, Taiho answered through their mental link. Jiwoo stood up straight. We need to get there first. We can take my ship. She moved quickly around the cabin, gathering items. A new rifle to replace the damaged one, extra power cells, a small device that she attached to her belt. This will help us track the stalkers, she said, pointing to the device. Taiho watched her prepare. She moved with purpose and calm. She was not afraid, even knowing there were more monsters out there. Humans were strange, he thought, so ready to face danger instead of running from it. Why are you helping us? Taiho asked. You don't know my people. Jiwoo stopped and looked at him. Her thoughts came clearly, images of humans protecting others. A deep belief that helping those in need was right. A sense of duty that went beyond differences in appearance or species. On Earth we have a saying, Jiwoo said. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. She smiled at him. Besides, I can't just let those creatures hurt children. Taiho felt a warm feeling in his chest. The Nuri believed in peace and kindness, but they usually kept to themselves. This human showed a different kind of kindness, active, protective, reaching out to others. Now, Jiwoo said, tell me about your village. Who leads your people? Who should we talk to first? Taiho sent her images of Elder Dohyun, the oldest and wisest of the Nuri in their settlement. He showed her the meeting hall where important talks happened. He showed her the village layout, houses in a circle around a central garden. Good, Jiwoo said. And does your village have any weapons? Any defenses? Taiho shook his head. We are peaceful. We have tools, but nothing made for fighting. Jiwoo frowned slightly but nodded. We'll work with what we have. The most important thing is to warn them before the stalkers arrive. She went to the pilot's seat and began pressing buttons. Lights came on. The ship hummed with power. Strap in, she told Taiho, pointing to a seat with belts. We're taking off. Taiho sat down and pulled the straps across his body as Jiwoo had shown him. He had never flown in a ship before. His heart beat faster with both fear and excitement. The ship rose smoothly from the ground. Trees seemed to fall away beneath them. Soon they were above the forest canopy. Taiho could see for miles, the green carpet of trees, the blue line of a river, and in the distance, the cleared area where his village stood. Jiwoo guided the ship east, flying low and fast. On a screen beside her, red dots showed the positions of the stalkers. They were moving quickly but not as fast as the ship. We'll get there in time, Jiwoo said. About 20 minutes. Taiho looked out the window at his world rushing by below. Everything had changed in just one night. He had met a deadly monster and a friendly alien. He had seen things no other Nuri had seen. What will your people think of me? Jiwoo asked, breaking into his thoughts. Taiho considered this. The Nuri were peaceful and kind, but they were also cautious around strangers. They had not met any other intelligent species since coming to K-12. They will be afraid at first, he admitted. But when they see you helped me, they will listen. Jiwoo nodded. I hope so. We need to work together to stop those creatures. The ship began to descend as they approached the village. Taiho could see tiny figures below, his people, pointing up at the strange ship in their sky. Ready? Jiwoo asked, looking at him. Taiho took a deep breath and nodded. Ready. The ship landed gently in the open space at the edge of the village. Through the window, Taiho could see his people gathering, keeping their distance from the strange object that had appeared from the sky. "Let me go first," Taiho said. "I will tell them you are a friend." Jiwoo agreed. She lowered the ramp, and together they prepared to face whatever came next. Taiho walked slowly down the ramp of Jiwoo's ship. His legs still hurt, but he moved as quickly as he could. Behind him, Jiwoo waited, letting the boy go first as they had agreed. A crowd of blue-skinned Nuri had gathered at a safe distance from the ship. They stared with wide eyes and worried faces. Taiho could feel their fear and confusion washing over him through their mental connection. "It's me, Taiho," he called out, both with his voice and his mind. From the crowd, two Nuri broke away and ran toward him. A tall male and a shorter female, his parents. They had been worried sick since he didn't come home the night before. "Taiho, my son!" his mother cried, wrapping her arms around him. "Where have you been? What happened to your leg?" His father noticed the bandage and the dried blood on Taiho's clothes. "You're hurt, and this strange ship—" "I'm okay," Taiho said. "I was attacked in the forest, but I was saved by—" He turned and pointed to the ship. Jiwoo stepped out into the sunlight. She had cleaned the dirt from her face and fixed her torn clothes as best she could. She stood tall but kept her hands empty and visible, trying to look friendly. A gasp went through the crowd. They had never seen a human before. To them, Jiwoo looked very alien with her light skin and dark hair. She was shorter than adult Nuri but clearly strong and confident. "This is Jiwoo," Taiho said. "She saved me from a monster in the forest. She is a friend." Elder Do-hyun stepped forward from the crowd. He was the oldest and wisest of the village leaders. His skin was a deeper blue than the others, and his white hair was long and tied back. "What monster?" Elder Do-hyun asked. "There are no dangerous animals in our forests." Taiho sent a mental image to everyone present. The Nexus Stalker with its 6 legs, changing skin, and terrible teeth. He showed them how it had chased him and caught him. Then he showed Jiwoo fighting the creature and winning. More gasps came from the crowd. Fear spread through their connected minds. Jiwoo stepped forward and bowed to Elder Do-hyun. "I am Captain Jiwoo Kim," she said. "I come in peace, but I bring a warning." Taiho translated her words into mental images that all the Nuri could understand. "Elder," Do-hyun looked at Jiwoo with careful eyes. "What warning do you bring, Star Traveler?" Jiwoo pointed to the forest. 3 days ago, a science ship crashed in your forest. It was carrying creatures from many worlds, including the one that attacked Taiho. We call it a Nexus Stalker. It is a dangerous predator." As Taiho translated, worried whispers spread through the crowd. "There are more of these creatures," Jiwoo continued. "At least 3 more, and they are coming this way." Now real fear broke out among the Nuri. Some began to cry. Others called out questions all at once. "Quiet." Elder Do-hyun raised his hands. "Let the stranger speak." Jiwoo nodded. Her thanks. "These creatures are strong and fast. They can change their skin color to hide. They hunt for sport as well as food. If they reach your village, many could die." More frightened sounds came from the crowd. The Nuri were peaceful farmers. They had no weapons, no defenses, no experience with such dangers. "What can we do?" someone called out. "Should we leave our homes?" Elder Do-hyun looked troubled. "This village took years to build. Our crops are ready to harvest. We cannot just leave." "You don't have to," Jiwoo said firmly. "I can help you defend yourselves." The crowd grew quiet. Taiho looked up at Jiwoo with new respect. She had already saved him. Now she was offering to protect his entire village. "Why would you help us?" Elder Do-hyun asked. "You do not know our people." Jiwoo straightened her shoulders. "Where I come from, we believe in helping those in need. I will not stand by and watch innocent people be hurt if I can prevent it." Taiho felt pride as he translated her words. The sea. Nuri believed in peace and helping others too, but they had never faced a threat like this before. Elder Do-hyun seemed to make a decision. Very well. We accept your help, Captain Jiwoo. What must we do? Jiwoo smiled. First, we need to prepare. How many people live in this village? 123, Elder Do-hyun answered. And do you have a safe building? Somewhere strong with few windows and doors? The elder pointed to a large stone building in the center of the village. Our meeting hall. It is the strongest building we have. Good, Jiwoo said. All children and those who cannot fight should go there if the creatures attack. She turned to look at the rest of the village. We need to set up barriers, and we need to make simple weapons. Some of the Nuri looked uncomfortable at the mention of weapons, but no one objected. We have farm tools, one man offered. Axes for cutting wood, knives for harvesting. Would those work? Jiwoo nodded. Those will help. I also need rope, nets, if you have them, and anything that can burn to make torches. The stalkers don't like fire. For the next few hours, the village was busy with activity. Under Jiwoo's direction, the Nuri moved carts and heavy furniture to block the main paths into the village. They tied ropes between trees to create trip lines. They filled buckets with water and placed them around the village in case of fire. Jiwoo worked alongside them, showing incredible strength that amazed the Nuri. She could lift huge logs that would take 4 of them to move. She could run faster than their fastest youth. The lower gravity of K-12 made her almost superhuman. Taiho followed Jiwoo everywhere, helping as much as he could despite his injured leg. He translated her instructions to his people and explained Nuri customs to her. Why do some of your people look worried when you mention fighting? Jiwoo asked him during a break. Taiho sipped cool water from a cup. The Nuri have not fought in war for many generations. Our old stories tell of a time when we fought each other. Many died. Since then, we have chosen the path of peace. Jiwoo nodded. Peace is good, but sometimes you must defend that peace. As the sun began to set, Jiwoo checked her tracking device. Her face grew serious. They're getting closer, she told Taiho. They'll reach the village by midnight. Elder Do-hyun called everyone to the meeting hall. Inside, the Nuri gathered in a circle. Jiwoo stood with Taiho in the center. The creatures will come tonight, Elder Do-hyun announced. Captain Jiwoo has helped us prepare, but we must be ready. I will fight them, Jiwoo said. I have my weapons and training, but I cannot be everywhere at once. I need volunteers to help me. The room was silent for a long moment. The Nuri looked at each other, uncertainly. Then slowly, hands began to rise. First a few, then more. Taiho raised his hand too. Jiwoo looked at him and frowned. Not you, she said. Your leg is hurt. I want to help, Taiho insisted. I can watch from a high place and warn others with my mind. Jiwoo thought for a moment, then nodded. That's a good idea. You can be our lookout. By the time full darkness fell, 30 Nuri had volunteered to help defend the village. They were not warriors, but they were brave and determined to protect their homes. Jiwoo divided them into groups. Some would man the barriers, others would stand ready with buckets of water. A few of the strongest would carry the farming tools, as weapons, but only to use if absolutely necessary. As the last light faded, Jiwoo climbed to the top of the meeting hall with Taiho. From there, they could see in all directions. Jiwoo handed him a small device. This will help you see in the dark, she explained, showing him how to use it. Watch for any movement at the edge of the forest. Taiho nodded, feeling both scared and excited. Below them, the village waited in nervous silence. They're coming, Jiwoo whispered, checking her tracker. Get ready. The night was dark and still. No wind blew through the trees. No animals made sounds. The silence was scary all by itself. Taiho sat next to Jiwoo on top of the meeting hall, watching the edge of the forest through the night vision device she had given him. His leg ached, but he ignored the pain. He had to stay alert. See anything? Jiwoo asked quietly. Nothing yet, Taiho replied. Down below, the Nuri volunteers waited at their posts. Some held torches, not yet lit. Others gripped, farm tools that had become weapons. They were farmers, not fighters, but tonight they would defend their homes. There! Taiho suddenly pointed. Something moved by the big fallen tree. Jiwoo looked where he pointed. Through her special visor, she could see a heat shape moving slowly at the edge of the forest. It was large and had 6 legs. Good eye, she said. It's one of them. Taiho sent a mental warning to all the Nuri. They are here, one by the fallen tree. Jiwoo scanned the rest of the forest edge. I see the second one, she said after a moment. It's moving to the south side of the village. And the third? Taiho asked. Jiwoo frowned. I don't see it yet. That's not good. They might be spreading out to attack from different sides. She stood up, checking her rifle. I'm going down. You stay here and keep watch. Remember the signal if you see one getting past our defenses. Taiho nodded. 3 mental pulses as strong as I can make them. Good. Jiwoo put a hand on his shoulder. Be careful. You too, Taiho said. Jiwoo climbed down from the roof and joined the defenders. Taiho watched her talk to the group leaders, pointing in different directions. The Nuri listened carefully, their faces serious, but determined. The minutes passed slowly. Taiho kept his eyes on the forest edge. The first stalker was still there, moving back and forth, looking for a way in. The barriers of carts, logs, and furniture blocked the easy paths into the village. Suddenly, Taiho saw movement on the far side of the village, the third stalker. It was trying to sneak in behind a row of houses. Taiho sent out 3 strong mental pulses. All the Nuri felt them. Jiwoo had been taught what they meant. Down below, Jiwoo pointed to 5 Nuri volunteers. With me, she said. They followed her as she ran toward the far side of the village. The first stalker made its move. It charged out of the forest toward the main barrier. 2 Nuri standing guard lit their torches and waved them. The creature hesitated, not liking the fire. But hunger and hunting instinct drove it forward. It jumped over the barrier with powerful legs. It's in! Someone shouted. 4 Nuri with axes and spears moved to face it. They were scared but stood their ground. The stalker roared and charged at them. The Nuri held up their weapons, but they had never fought before. They didn't know what to do. Just before the creature reached them, something flew through the air and hit it hard. A heavy net weighted with stones fell over the stalker. It thrashed and twisted, trying to get free. Elder Doyun stood to one side, the one who had thrown the net. Now, he called. The Nuri with spears moved in and stabbed at the tangled creature. They didn't want to kill, but they had to protect their people. The stalker screamed in pain and anger. It broke free from the net and ran back toward the forest, bleeding from several wounds. On the other side of the village, Jiwoo and her group found the third stalker. It was trying to break into a house where a family was hiding. Hey, Jiwoo shouted. The creature turned to face her. Unlike the others, Jiwoo didn't hesitate. She raised her rifle and fired 3 quick shots. The stalker fell to the ground and didn't move again. The Nuri with her looked shocked. They had never seen a creature killed so quickly, but they also felt relief that the threat was gone. 1 down, Jiwoo said. 2 to go. From his spot on the roof, Taiho saw the second stalker finally make its move. It had found a gap in the defenses and was slipping into the village near the food storage buildings. Taiho sent another 3 mental pulses. This time, he added an image of where the creature was. Jiwoo received his warning and ran toward the food storage area, but she was too far away. The stalker would reach the buildings before she could get there. Taiho made a quick decision. He climbed down from the roof as fast as he could with his injured leg. He grabbed a torch that was leaning against the wall and lit it. Then he ran toward the food storage buildings. He reached them just as the stalker was breaking through the door of the main building. Inside were all the stored crops that would feed the village through the winter. Stop, Taiho shouted, waving the torch. The stalker turned toward him, its eyes reflecting the torchlight. It recognized Taiho as the prey that had gotten away before. With a growl, it moved toward him. Taiho backed up, keeping the torch between him and the creature. He was scared, but he couldn't let it destroy their food. The stalker lunged forward. Taiho swung the torch, and the creature pulled back from the flames. But it kept coming, moving around to find a way past the fire. Taiho's back hit a wall. He had nowhere to go. The stalker sensed his fear and moved in for the kill. Suddenly, a voice rang out, "Down!" Taiho dropped to the ground just as Jiwoo fired her rifle. The shot hit the stalker in the side. It roared in pain and turned to face this new threat. Jiwoo stood there, rifle aimed and ready. "Remember me?" she said. The stalker charged at her. Jiwoo waited until the last second, then dropped to one knee and fired up into the creature's soft underside as it leaped over her. The stalker crashed to the ground behind her and didn't get up. "Taiho!" Jiwoo ran to the boy. "Are you hurt?" "No," Taiho said, standing up. "You came just in time." "That's two," Jiwoo said. "Where's the first one?" As if to answer, a scream came from the center of the village. The first stalker had returned, wounded but still dangerous. It had cornered a group of Nuri near the well. Jiwoo and Taiho ran toward the sounds. When they reached the well, they saw the stalker facing off against several Nuri with farming tools. The creature was bleeding but still strong enough to fight. "We need to end this," Jiwoo said. She raised her rifle, but before she could fire, something unexpected happened. The Nuri defending the well stepped forward together. They moved as one, their minds connected. Instead of attacking with their tools, they reached out with their thoughts. A wave of peaceful energy flowed from the Nuri toward the stalker. Taiho felt it and understood. His people were not fighters, but they had another strength, their minds. The stalker stopped moving. It seemed confused. The Nuri mental energy was like nothing it had ever felt before. Its hunting instinct was being dampened by waves of calm. While the creature was distracted, Jiwoo moved to the side and took careful aim. One clean shot, and the last stalker fell. The village was quiet again. The three stalkers were defeated. No Nuri had died, though. Several had minor injuries. As the sun began to rise, the people came out of their homes. They gathered in the center of the village. Elder Do-hyun called Jiwoo and Taiho to stand with him. "Today we have seen something new," Elder Do-hyun said to all the people. "We have seen that sometimes we must defend what we love, and we have seen that there are friends among the stars." He turned to Jiwoo and bowed low. "Captain Jiwoo Kim, you have saved our village. You have saved my people. We owe you a debt we cannot repay." Jiwoo shook her head. "You owe me nothing. Your people fought bravely tonight. You protected your own. But we could not have done it without you," Elder Do-hyun insisted. Taiho stepped forward. "We learned something today. The Nuri way of peace is good. But Jiwoo showed us that sometimes we must be strong to keep that peace." Jiwoo smiled at the boy. "And I learned something too. Your people's mental abilities are amazing. Together, we make a good team." Later that day, as Jiwoo prepared her ship to leave, Taiho came to say goodbye. "Will you come back?" he asked. "Yes," Jiwoo promised. "My people should know about yours. We could learn from each other." Taiho gave her a small carved stone in the shape of a star. "To remember us," he said. Jiwoo knelt down and put a hand on his shoulder. "I won't forget. And next time, I'll bring no predators with me." Taiho laughed. "Next time, maybe I can show you our peaceful ways." "I'd like that," Jiwoo said. "Until then, stay out of the deep forest." As her ship rose into the sky, the entire village watched. They had faced danger and survived. They had met their first alien visitor, and they had learned that sometimes the most unexpected friends come from the farthest places. Taiho held the memory of Jiwoo in his mind, the human who had shown up just in time, who had fought the predator to save him, and who had taught his people that being peaceful didn't mean being helpless. Somewhere among the stars there were humans, and they would meet again.